Okay, welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm going to try something that I have not done before. Hopefully this is going to launch or spring into a new series that I'm going to call like Judicial Committee meeting reviews, okay? So the reason I'm even doing a video like this is because for some of my friends on the channel who are not familiar with these proceedings, Judicial Committee is formed when someone is committed a gross sin or apostasy or something like that. And it is being decided at this point in this meeting whether this person should be disfellowshipped, basically rejected from the congregation. Their friends and family are no longer allowed to talk to them. We've talked about it in other videos. Also, there are 3 elders against this one individual. So there are no witnesses that are allowed to be present at this hearing. So this person is completely on their own versus 3 men. And it's basically just like a team up, 3 versus 1. They're asking you questions. They're asking you to defend your position. I feel like 9 times out of 10, they've already made the decision before you've even walked into the room. So this is a secret recording, which means the audio is going to be kind of poor and the video quality is not going to be that great. So I do recommend that if you're going to watch this video with me and watch my critiques of it, that you do so with headphones in and you do it in a quiet place where you're not busy, because otherwise you really won't be able to make out what these guys are saying and it's not going to be a pleasurable viewing experience for you. So if you are in a quiet place and you have headphones, grab a cup of tea. It's still really hot. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fast forward past all the pleasantries and the opening prayer, and we're just going to get straight into reviewing this Judicial Committee meeting. So let's see what we got.
Okay. Isaac, it's good to see you.
You too.
I haven't seen you for quite some time.
It's been a while.
Yeah,
it really has.
So, what are we going to do? The 3 of us have been assigned by the body of elders to listen to what you have to tell us, and so we give you the floor and let us know what's going on with you.
You want to know what's going on to me? Just
Yeah. Oh, that's why we're here. You know, you haven't been coming to the meetings, and you know, all we're
That's
doing
a
is
no-no.
hearing stuff
Right.
about Isaac. And so we are giving you the opportunity now to let us know what it is you want, what your wishes are. Your brother came to us with a letter. He let us know what his wishes are, and that's fine. We took care of, that's been taken care of. So now you're on the floor. you let us know what it is going on with Isaac. Do you need help from us? Do you need us to assist you with whatever is going on, whatever doubts you have, or have you already made up your mind as to what you want to do? I don't want to put words in your
right.
mouth.
No, I understand.
You know, so.
Well, I was summoned. I mean, I spoke with Robert a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
and he wanted me to talk to 2 elders, and
Yeah.
I just, with everything that's going on in my life right now, I just didn't have the time to
Right.
make whatever arrangement that would have been.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got a call from Kevin, and then you, Dimitri. I'm sorry, I don't know your last name.
Yeah,
but-
sure.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. So I got a call from them saying that I was going to be summoned for a judicial committee.
So something I think is kind of interesting is, and I mean, you can't expect I don't know. For me personally, I knew every elder in my congregation. So I think it's interesting that one of the 3 elders that he has in his meeting, apparently he has no clue who that guy is. So I don't know if this is his congregation or somebody else's, or I find that kind of odd that the people who are interviewing you don't personally know you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's why we were formed, because of, what we've been hearing.
Right.
Your wife came to us and let us know what was happening.
Yeah.
You were, the things that you were saying, that she did not believe, that you were trying to indoctrinate her to it. She didn't want to have anything to do with it.
mm-hmm.
He was trying to indoctrinate his wife. Hi, Pot. I'm Kettle. Oh my gosh. You have the gall of an elder saying that a husband was trying to indoctrinate his wife, when that's pretty much what Jehovah's Witnesses do, is indoctrination.
And so whatever she did because of that, I know you guys aren't living together.
Right.
Our thing is, would you like us to help in this situation, or have you already determined where you're going to be? Are you still one of Jehovah's Witnesses? Is it something that you're not? And that's what I'm saying. Your brother, when he came to us, he told us. I said, well, what about your brother? And he said, well, he feels the same like I do. I said, well, then if he does, could you please let him know? I said, we gave him that option to let you know that, let us know what you're doing, because Jehovah doesn't force anybody to come here. We are not, we didn't come and talk to you and bring you.
No, I understand. Yeah.
And so as a part of the congregation, as elders, our duty is to see after the flock.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you do not want to be a part of the flock anymore, you have to let us know that.
Right.
You see, we don't make assumptions, nor are we taking, we're giving you input. Right. Whatever somebody says is hearsay until we hear it from
Sorry about that
Right.
audio.
That's why we have 3 men here.
Right.
to listen to what Isaac wants.
Mm-hmm.
Your parents, for instance, are very concerned about you. We're concerned about both.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
You know?
Well, yeah. And if it wasn't for my parents, I mean, I wouldn't be sitting here, because my parents were both raised Jehovah's Witnesses too.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point.
And Britannia and her family are both
Mm-hmm.
Jehovah's Witnesses. And
So earlier he said, Jehovah doesn't force anybody here. Well, here's the problem with this young man. I can sympathize or empathize with him because I was also born into the organization. So, maybe Jehovah didn't force me there, but my parents by proxy did, because I was born into the organization, so I really had no option to believe any other way. In fact, if I had tried, well, I did. If I had tried while I was still living at home, I would more than likely be shunned by my own family. So it's unfortunate for the born-ins. The experience is like you're either a Jehovah's Witness or you're not, and if you're not, then you're shunned.
And I really appreciate the body working with me, with Kevin too, because I've never been able to feel like I could open up completely with him. I don't know. I know he's just really close to John. Thinks a lot of him, and he's just really close with John and Nancy. And I just kind of, I just felt more comfortable just having
Somebody that you
just nobody that was connected to my in-laws really.
Mm-hmm.
And with what happened with Britannia, I mean that was months and months in the works, because I just have notes. Is there?
Sure.
So it's just been a couple years. I had to prepare material for a talk, and I ran across some things that really, really bothered me. I've noticed a lot of changes,
Pulling on that thread.
just within the last year in the organization. And I don't know, it's not the same organization I was brought up in. It's not the same religion I was brought up in. And there's many, many things that have changed, and it's just, we're living in a time now where, with the last presidential election, they had groups of people called fact checkers. And their sole purpose, their sole job was to to check the facts that these guys were saying on TV. And now instantly somebody can listen to somebody giving material for a talk and type on their phone saying if it's legit or not. The Last Awake in January, the scientist that they quoted, it's been all over the internet that this guy was misquoted by the Watchtower writing department. And he wanted a retraction. He wanted an apology from the writing department. And I mean, we know that's not going to happen. I mean, there's just all these different little things, but
Okay, now on its face, that might not seem like such a big deal, but the Watchtower actually does this all the time. In fact, when they're trying to make argumentation against the cross, they quote some encyclopedia, some Bible encyclopedia. Maybe someone in the comment section could help me out with that. I can't remember it off the top of my head right now. But they literally take a quote that would seemingly be against the fact that Jesus Christ was crucified on a cross, and they take a sentence out of that. let's just call it an encyclopedia, and they quote that, and then after it they put ... because if you were to read the rest of the quote from that book, you would see how they say, but the common Roman practice around that time was to have two adjoining pieces of wood. So literally the quote that they steal from is the quote that damns their argument. So again, him quoting this Awake in January 2015 and the fact that they misquoted a scientist, that happens all the time. So it might seem like a small thing, but that's them being dishonest with other people's material to push their point.
There's a lot of big things that have happened. You and John Cornelius met with me a couple, what was it, last 2 summers ago now?
So yeah, probably, yeah.
And then Robert, I had my, this is my Illuminator's book.
Your what?
My Illuminator book from Pioneer School.
Oh, okay.
The Pioneer book, I brought that with. There was just a paragraph in there I wanted to share. When you met with me about what I was doing with the Coast Guard, that was, that was something I knew what I was getting into.
He joined the military.
Because about 8 months into my marriage with
How dare
Britannia,
he?
I had done research for a talk that I had to give on Jerusalem and discovered some things about 607 BCE being a date that is not legitimate in history at all. And
just for anyone who's not familiar with 607 BCE, that number is super, super important to the Jehovah's Witnesses because through a series of weird math, they extrapolate from the pyramids and the stars, and I'm just kidding. It's some bizarre math, but basically through some bizarre math, they've determined that Christ has returned invisibly in the year 1914, and that's why that year 1914 is so important to them. It gave them the measuring rod, basically, they came out with a book, Those Now Living Will Never Die, and it was supposed to be anyone from the generation of 1914, so if you were from the age of like 10 to 13 around the year 1914, you were supposed to live before the end of days came, before Armageddon happened, and obviously those people are now mostly passed on. So they had to change their teaching from Those Now Living Will Never Die into, they went from using the word generation to overlapping generation. It's very confusing. Don't even ask me to explain it to you because that is straight through and through cult talk. So I've never taken the time to try and understand the overlapping generation teaching because it is Meshuggah. So we'll continue on for a bit more.
We went to the library, I researched, I went to the 2 synagogues that are here in Naples, and I spoke with both rabbis at both synagogues, and they both agreed they both told me that 607 just is not a date that coincides with the actual history of what happened. The Babylonian exile of the Jewish people from Jerusalem happened at a different day.
Okay.
And we know that in the early times with Charles Russell, the way he got to 1914 was by measuring the pyramids of Giza. If we read in those, I read the early books. I spent the last 2.5 years rereading almost all the publications. Britannia can vouch for that. Britannia knows what I was doing because I nearly had to be hospitalized because I had a nervous breakdown from what I discovered. Because I realized the consequences of what was going to happen. One of 2 things were going to happen. I was either going to just keep going to meetings and just ignore it all, or what's happening now was going to happen.
You do realize we don't go by Charles Taze Russell.
Oh, I know that.
So he's basically saying he had a nervous breakdown because as he was doing research, he was figuring out that the organization is false. And as you can tell by earlier in the video, like, this poor guy is not even living with his wife anymore, which maybe to him he thinks that's a blessing in disguise. I'm not sure. I just think it would be terrible if my wife chose a religious organization over me, especially when I'm coming to her and telling her, listen, you've got to see this stuff. And it's not even like he was finding crazy stuff. He was finding that the old teachings don't line up with the new teachings. Now, this next part's funny. I'm going to jump back 10 seconds real quick.
we don't go by Charles Taze Russell.
Oh, I know that,
I mean,
but that's
that's
what
all
it's on it, but we still go by 1914.
Yeah.
So I love how the very founder of the Jehovah's Witnesses, I understand back then it was called like the International Bible Students or something like that. I love how the founder of it, they're like, you know, we don't go by Charles Taze Russell. He's the founder of your faith. He's the one who created this whole shebang. So, and you want to know what's even funnier is I've heard my brother say that if it's from Brother Rutherford, he'll respect it. All you have to do is go back and read some of Rutherford's teachings. And if you read Rutherford's teachings now, you would sound like a heretic to current Jehovah's Witnesses. Blah. Okay, I think I'm going to go a couple seconds more, and then I'm going to end this and make it part 1, because I want these to be shorter. And, yeah, I just don't want it to be too long for each individual video.
And he used the pyramids of Giza, the lengths of the angles
Which we put away, but
Right.
if you ever want to, we could help you, we could work with you to reestablish
We can measure some new pyramids.
Correct understanding since Charles Taze Russell.
Oh.
You know that, okay?
Yeah.
Just so you know, because I can see it's something that's...
Well, that's just
big
one little
concern.
thing, but that is something that is of great importance
There's
because
many things.
we replace the pyramid theory with the 607 BCE theory. If we take 607 BCE out of the equation, 1914 has no significance.
Okay, well, that's, okay.
I mean, that's what happened. That's what they did. That's what Rutherford put into place.
Okay, we're going to pause here, and they're thinking to themselves right now, darn it, this young man has done his research. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to make this part 1. I'm going to see if I can splice this coherently to where it makes sense. And if this goes well, then I will definitely be continuing on. I'm just going to take a screenshot of where I'm at currently. So I'm going to definitely continue on and do a part 2 if the splicing of this goes really well. So you guys will have to let me know if you even enjoy this, because I would love to review more of these judicial committee meetings. And we haven't even gotten into the meat of it yet, guys. Like, this is preliminary stuff. They're getting past like the surface stuff, and we're going to start getting in deeper, because I actually think there's a part 2 to this video, and I will provide a link to the original video. This was originally posted 5 years ago by jwstruggle.org or .com. And I do want to give them credit as well, because he's been running that channel for a while. So anyways, guys, thank you for watching, and let me know what you think in the comments down below. All right, bye.